Dead by Daylight keeps adding new killers. Some are weak, some are complex, some are just annoying. But every time one of them turns out strong, people start throwing around the word power creep. And that's where I disagree. A recent video got me thinking, and I'm not going to break it down point by point, but it made some comparisons I didn't agree with. Specifically, it called new killers power creep based on cherry-picked strengths without looking at the entire killer kit. That said, the subtitling was clean as hell. I'm stealing that. Same for the presentation. Unfortunately, I can't steal that part. Now, look, some things in Dead by Daylight do look like power creep. Like how Sadako and Dredge can't use their powers at round start, but Springtrap can. Or how Springtrap moves at 90% speed with his weapon out, while Huntress is stuck at 70. These are the kinds of inconsistencies that maybe should be looked at. Either make them all work the same way, or define why they don't. But power creep isn't just, this new killer is better than the old one. Look at it this way. Every time you add something new to a game, it's going to be stronger or weaker than what came before. That's not power creep, that's just a truth of design. Problematic power creep, in my opinion, is when a new addition invalidates an old one, not outperforms it sometimes or feels more modern, but actually erases any reason to run the older version. For an example of this type of power creep, look at Magic the Gathering. 2 cards, same cost, same type, one just does more. That's never play the old one again type of power creep. Dead by Daylight's killer roster is still far from that. And here's the funny part. The strongest killers in DBD are some of the oldest. Nurse is still the best killer in the game, by far, and she's almost from day one. Huntress still has the best ranged attack in the game. Is there a stealth killer better than the Wraith? So if we're being consistent here, shouldn't they be the proof of power creep? Why does it matter how simple the powers are if they're the best? Well, I think sometimes people confuse complexity with power. Just because a killer is harder to learn or has a lot of paragraphs describing their power, doesn't mean they're stronger. In fact, Chucky, Freddy, and Sadako all have layered, multi-step powers, and they're still mid-tier at best. And more on similarities, let's be real for a second. Trickster and Deathslinger aren't as good as Huntress, but they're also not trying to be. They offer different mechanical skill checks, different playstyles, and different types of pressure. If a player loves Huntress for hatchet play, you can't just hand them Springtrap and say use this instead. That's part of what makes the game so interesting to play. Now, one thing that the video which inspired me does bring up is it compares Sadako's teleport to the Dredge and Springtrap, claiming that hers is just worse. But I feel like that's a very shallow argument. All 3 teleport, sure, but the way that they actually play after the teleporting is incredibly different. Sadako teleports to a TV at any time, coming out of the TV is fairly quick, and you get a massive speed boost. Okay, but also her condemn mechanic forces survivors to interact with her TVs, or she can outright kill them. Catching someone trying to use the TV to bring down their condemn stacks is a free hit. Dredge can teleport to lockers, but the survivors can lock the lockers to give themselves ample time to run. He also gets no speed boost when he comes out, and if he guesses wrong, there's a 15-second cooldown. The power is about map traversal, but only lets him get somewhere and start chase. He has to catch the survivor after the teleport like a normal killer, with practically no advantage other than he's able to start chase now. Now, Springtrap can teleport to doors, and upon doing so, he's undetectable. Unlike the others, there's no wait time before he can teleport at the start of a round. But also unlike the other 2, he can only teleport at doors. Unlike Sadako, who can teleport somewhere instantly on reaction, Springtrap really can't drop chase to go leave. His map pressure is incredibly strong, but the point of his doors isn't to get him the hits, it's to start chases quicker. What I'm saying is they may all teleport, but they play nothing alike. And Sadako isn't outclassed because of power creep, she's just not as tuned as the others. A few number buffs and she would be fine, and still totally unique. Look at Skull Merchant. She went from terrifying to trash, and all it took was stat and number changes on her kit. So if Sadako's weak, that's a balance issue, not a design failure, and not power creep. Unless you're telling me that a buffed Sadako would mean you shouldn't play Springtrap or Dredge, I just disagree with the idea that they power crept her out of the game. A quick aside, personally, I'd like for her demanifest stealth to be a bit better, and for taking the TV to either remove her tear radius, or for the speed boost to last a bit longer from it. Overall, Dead by Daylight is a simple game. A lot of killers are going to overlap. You're going to get teleporters, slowdown, stealth, anti-loop, over and over again. The question isn't, does this look similar? It's, does this feel redundant? And honestly, most killers still feel distinct, even if they share mechanics. So yeah, I'd say we all can agree, some killers are stronger than others, but if the only thing that you consider is strength when deciding what killer to play, then Nurse broke the system years ago, and the rest of the roster might as well not exist. We both know that's not true. In conclusion, Dead by Daylight doesn't have a power creep problem. It has a balance problem, but killers still have their niches, their playstyles, and their identities. And as long as that's true, we shouldn't look at killers as worse or better versions of each other. We should look at what gameplay they bring to the table, and if it's fun. Basically, don't look at one part of a killer's kit in isolation when trying to decide whether or not they're the same as a different one. That's not how game design works. And on that note, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of these captions because it's unique. And I feel like this doesn't have to be said, but obviously I don't mean any hate towards Ardetha's video. I mean, it was well made enough that it inspired me to make this one. I just disagreed with the idea that what they were describing was power creep. And if you want to watch that video, links in the description. Yeah. Till next time, see ya.